The Unspoken Challenges of Aging. 8 Hidden Costs of Moving In with Your Adult Children. What if the most loving choice carries hidden consequences? Moving in with your adult children after 65 often seems like the natural, compassionate step. A haven of family, support, and shared memories. But what if this well-intentioned move quietly erodes the very essence of what makes you, you? If you're approaching this stage of life, or simply contemplating the future, this video is essential viewing. Because the decision to share a roof with your children, while seemingly practical and comforting, can subtly diminish your independence, reshape your identity, and impact your inner peace in ways you might never expect. We'll explore 8 often overlooked aspects of this transition, each one a silent struggle millions experience, but rarely discuss. Stay with me until the end, not just for the insights, but because acknowledging these challenges gives you permission to advocate for your needs, protect your well-being, and embrace the fullness of your life, regardless of where you live. Number 1. The diminishing sense of self. Moving in with your children often means relinquishing your personal space. And I'm not just talking about the physical room you occupy, although that's certainly a significant part of it. Think about it. For years, perhaps decades, you've had a space that was uniquely yours, a sanctuary reflecting your personality, your tastes, your memories. Now, you're adapting to a new environment, one that already has an established rhythm and aesthetic. It's the subtle loss of dominion over your own life. The familiar routines, the cherished corners of your day, the quiet comfort of your own domain, these become shared, negotiated, and sometimes simply lost. Initially, it feels like a simple change of scenery. You tell yourself it's temporary, an adjustment. You focus on the positives, the closeness of family, the shared meals, the helping hands. But gradually, a disquieting question emerges. Where do I belong now? Where is close enough space? Not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. It's not about ingratitude. It's about the profound connection between our environment and our identity. Your home, over time, becomes an extension of yourself. It holds your memories, your rhythms, your very essence. The chipped teacup you refuse to throw away. The worn armchair perfectly positioned for the afternoon sun. The framed photos on the mantelpiece. These are not just objects, they are pieces of you, woven into the fabric of your home. When you move, you bring some of these with you, of course, but they don't hold the same weight, the same resonance in a new space. I recall speaking with Margaret, a vibrant 78-year-old who moved in with her son after a minor illness. She confessed that after a few months, she felt like a ghost in her own life. She hesitated to rearrange furniture, adjust the thermostat, even hang her own artwork. She felt a constant need to ask permission, to defer to the established order of the house. She was living in a space that no longer felt like her own, surrounded by her belongings, yet feeling strangely disconnected from them. This erosion of personal space chips away at your sense of self-worth. The simple act of making choices, even small ones. What to eat for breakfast, when to turn on the television, which book to read before bed, reinforces your autonomy, your sense of control over your own life. When those choices diminish, so does a part of you. You become a passenger in your own journey, rather than the driver. And that can be a profoundly unsettling experience. Number 2. The shifting sands of family dynamics. Moving in with your adult children inevitably alters the established family dynamic, sometimes in profound and unexpected ways. You transition from being the head of your own household, the primary decision maker, the source of guidance and authority, to someone navigating a new set of rules and expectations within a pre-existing family structure. This shift can be particularly disorienting for those who have spent decades in a leadership role, accustomed to having the final say in matters large and small. Your opinions, once sought after and respected, might now be gently overridden or simply not solicited. Decisions, once yours to make independently, are now made collectively, often without your direct input. You might find yourself on the periphery of conversations that directly affect your daily life, feeling like an observer rather than a participant. Think of George, a retired teacher in his late 70s, who moved in with his daughter and her family. He described a growing sense of disconnect, a feeling of being subtly excluded from the family's decision-making process. Family discussions about finances, vacations, even household repairs, often happened without him. He felt his wisdom and experience, accumulated over a lifetime, were gradually being sidelined. He yearned to contribute, to offer his insights, but often felt hesitant to speak up, unsure of his place in the new family hierarchy. This shift isn't about a power struggle or a deliberate attempt to diminish your role. It's about the natural evolution of family dynamics as roles and responsibilities change over time. It's also about respect and the inherent human need to feel valued and heard. When your voice fades into the background, when your opinions are no longer actively sought, your sense of purpose can diminish. It's not just a change in roles, it's a change in how you're perceived, both by your family and, more importantly, by yourself. You might start to question your own relevance, your own worth within the family unit. This can be a deeply unsettling experience, leading to feelings of frustration, isolation, and even resentment. It's crucial to remember that open communication is key to navigating these shifting sands. Expressing your feelings and needs respectfully can help your family understand your perspective and work together to create a more inclusive and harmonious living environment. If you find yourself experiencing these feelings, remember you are not alone. Many individuals navigating this transition face similar challenges. Sharing your experiences and seeking support from others who understand can be incredibly valuable. Number 3, the disruption of lifelong rhythms. Our daily routines, those seemingly mundane habits we often take for granted, are the anchors of our lives. They provide structure, comfort, a sense of normalcy, and perhaps most importantly, a sense of control in a world that often feels beyond our grasp. These routines, cultivated over decades, become ingrained in our very being, shaping our days and influencing our overall well-being. But when you move in with your children, these carefully constructed rhythms are often disrupted, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. Your preferred wake-up time, your quiet moments with a book and a cup of tea, your afternoon naps, your evening walks. These cherished rituals, these small pockets of peace and predictability, can vanish practically overnight. Imagine Eleanor, a lifelong early riser who found solace in the stillness of dawn. For years, she would wake before the sun, brew a pot of her favorite Earl Grey tea, and settle into her favorite armchair with a book, savoring the quiet solitude before the day began. This was her time, her sanctuary, a ritual that grounded her and prepared her for the day ahead. However, after moving in with her daughter's bustling household, Eleanor found herself struggling to maintain this cherished morning routine. The sounds of children getting ready for school, the hurried breakfast preparations, the constant activity, and the inevitable early morning chaos, it all clashed jarringly with her need for quiet contemplation. The gentle symphony of dawn was replaced by a cacophony of competing sounds. She tried to adjust, rising even earlier, seeking refuge in a different corner of the house, but the disruption persisted, leaving her feeling disoriented, frustrated, and strangely depleted. These routines aren't just about habit or personal preference. They're about self-care, about maintaining a vital connection to your inner self, a connection that nourishes your soul and sustains your spirit. They are the threads that weave together the fabric of your day, providing a sense of continuity and stability. When these rhythms are broken, you lose not just the comfort of familiarity, but a piece of your identity, a piece of your autonomy. The predictable rhythm of your day, once a source of stability, becomes unpredictable, leaving you feeling adrift in a sea of unfamiliar schedules and routines. The loss of these small, personal rituals can be profoundly unsettling, leaving you feeling disoriented and disconnected from yourself. It's like losing a familiar landmark on a well-traveled road. You know where you want to go, but the familiar markers that guided you are gone, leaving you feeling lost and uncertain. Reclaiming some semblance of your established routines, carving out even small pockets of time for yourself, is crucial for maintaining your sense of self and well-being within the new family dynamic. Number 4. The subtle erosion of financial independence. While moving in with your children can offer financial relief, particularly in the face of rising living costs and fixed incomes, it can also subtly, and sometimes significantly, diminish your financial autonomy. This isn't simply about the practicalities of shared expenses or contributing to the household budget. It's about a deeper shift in control, a change in the dynamics of who manages the purse strings and makes decisions about how money is spent. You might contribute to household expenses, perhaps even paying a pre-agreed amount for rent and utilities, but you're no longer the sole decision maker regarding your own finances. The very act of pooling resources, while often necessary and practical, can blur the lines of individual financial responsibility and create a sense of shared ownership over what was once entirely your own. This shift can be especially challenging when it comes to personal spending. The small joys, the little indulgences that once brought pleasure and a sense of freedom, a spontaneous gift for a grandchild, a new book, a small donation to a favorite charity, might now feel like unnecessary expenditures, subject to scrutiny or silent judgment. Consider Frank, a retired accountant who always enjoyed treating his grandchildren to small gifts. A trip to the ice cream parlor, a new toy car, a small contribution towards a coveted video game. These were small gestures of love and connection that brought him immense joy. After moving in with his son, however, he found himself hesitant to make these gestures, worried about appearing frivolous or burdening the family budget. He began to second-guess himself, questioning whether his small acts of generosity were now perceived as an extravagance, an unnecessary drain on the shared resources. He started to internalize these concerns, feeling a sense of guilt accompanying what were once simple acts of love. This subtle shift isn't just about money. It's about agency, about the freedom to make choices that reflect your values and priorities. It's about the ability to allocate your resources as you see fit, without having to justify or explain your spending habits. When that freedom is curtailed, even subtly, it can significantly impact your self-worth. It can lead to feelings of dependence, a sense of being beholden to others for even the smallest of purchases. The act of having to ask for money, even from your own children, can be a humbling experience, one that can erode your sense of self-reliance and independence. It can feel like a regression, a return to a childlike state, where your financial decisions are subject to the approval of others. This is not to say that sharing finances with family is inherently negative. In many cases, It's a necessary and mutually beneficial arrangement. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the potential psychological impact of this shift in financial autonomy. Open communication, clear boundaries, and a mutual respect for individual financial needs are essential for navigating this delicate aspect of shared living. Maintaining some degree of financial independence, even a small personal fund for discretionary spending, can go a long way in preserving your sense of self-worth and autonomy. It allows you to maintain a sense of control over your own life, even within the context of shared financial responsibilities. Number 5. The blurring of personal boundaries. Sharing a home inevitably means sharing space, and with that comes a potential blurring of personal boundaries. This isn't about intentional overstepping or deliberate disregard for your privacy. It's about the subtle, often unintentional intrusions that can occur when personal space becomes shared space. Think about it. Someone might enter your room without knocking, assuming a familiarity that you haven't yet embraced. Your belongings, carefully arranged and imbued with personal meaning, might be moved, misplaced, or even discarded in a well-intentioned tidying effort. Personal conversations, meant to be private, might be overheard, leading to a sense of being constantly observed, never truly alone. These small intrusions, while often unintentional and well-meaning, can gradually erode your sense of privacy and autonomy, leaving you feeling exposed and vulnerable. Imagine Helen, who cherished her quiet evenings reading in her favorite chair, a worn leather armchair that had been a comforting presence in her life for decades. This was her sanctuary, her time to escape into the pages of a book, to lose herself in other worlds and other lives. After moving in with her daughter's family, however, that quiet time became increasingly elusive. The constant activity, the television blaring in the background, the general hubbub of family life, it all seeped into her quiet corner, making it difficult to find the solitude she craved. The ringing of phones, the chatter of voices, the clatter of dishes, these once familiar sounds of a vibrant household now felt intrusive, disruptive, a constant reminder that she was no longer in her own domain. She tried to adjust, seeking refuge in different corners of the house, wearing headphones to block out the noise, but the sense of intrusion persisted, leaving her feeling increasingly frustrated and on edge. These intrusions, however minor they may seem, can chip away at your sense of personal space, that invisible boundary that defines your sense of self and your need for solitude. They make it difficult to truly relax, to unwind, to recharge your emotional batteries. Your personal space, once a sanctuary, becomes a shared territory, subject to the ebb and flow of family life, leaving you with little control over your own environment. This can lead to a constant state of low-grade stress, a feeling of being perpetually on guard, never quite able to let your guard down and simply be yourself. It's like living in a fishbowl, constantly aware of being observed, never quite able to escape the watchful eyes of others. Reclaiming some semblance of personal space, establishing clear boundaries, is crucial for maintaining your sense of well-being within the new family dynamic. This might involve having a frank conversation with your children about your need for privacy, establishing designated quiet times, or simply creating a small corner of the house that is truly your own. A space where you can retreat and recharge, free from the constant intrusions of family life. Number 6. The growing gulf of generational differences. Living under the same roof as your adult children can sometimes feel like stepping into a different world, one where the familiar landmarks of shared experience and understanding have vanished, replaced by a landscape of differing values, contrasting interests, and divergent rhythms of life. This isn't necessarily a negative aspect, but rather a natural consequence of generational shifts and the evolving tapestry of cultural influences. What once felt like common ground, the shared language of family history and tradition, can sometimes give way to a sense of disconnect, a feeling of being out of sync with the very people you love most. Your interests, cultivated over a lifetime, might not resonate with the passions of your children and grandchildren. The books you cherish, the music that moves you, the hobbies that bring you joy. These might be met with polite disinterest or even gentle amusement. You might find yourself struggling to engage in conversations about current trends, popular culture, or the latest technological advancements, feeling like an outsider looking in, a silent observer, in a world that has moved on without you. The quiet comfort of shared memories, the familiar stories that once bound you together, might now feel like relics of a bygone era, overshadowed by the fast-paced, ever-changing present. The pace of life itself can become a source of friction. Your preference for quiet evenings, for leisurely meals, for a slower, more contemplative approach to daily living might clash with the frenetic energy of a younger generation, accustomed to constant stimulation and the relentless demands of a 24/7 connected world. You might yearn for moments of shared reflection, for meaningful conversations that delve beneath the surface, but find yourself surrounded by the constant buzz of technology, the flickering screens that seem to absorb attention and create an invisible barrier between generations. This constant digital hum, while seemingly innocuous, can erode the space for deeper connection, for the kind of intimate exchanges that nourish the soul and strengthen family bonds. This sense of disconnect isn't about a lack of love or a deliberate attempt to exclude you. It's about the natural evolution of values, interests, and cultural norms over time. It's about the widening gap between lived experiences, the differing perspectives shaped by the unique historical and social contexts in which each generation comes of age. It's about the challenge of finding common ground amidst the shifting sands of generational change. This disconnect can lead to a profound sense of loneliness, a feeling of isolation even when surrounded by family. You might be physically present, sharing meals and living space, yet feel emotionally distant, unable to bridge the gap between your world and theirs. It's like speaking different languages, where the words are familiar yet the meaning remains elusive. Bridging this generational divide requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to embrace differences. It requires a conscious effort to find common ground, to seek out shared interests, and to create opportunities for meaningful connection. It's about learning to appreciate the unique perspectives of each generation, recognizing that these differences, while sometimes challenging, can also enrich family life and broaden our understanding of the world. It's about creating a space where everyone feels heard, respected, and valued, regardless of their age or perspective. Number 7. The burden of self-silencing. One of the most insidious challenges of living with your adult children is the tendency to self-silence. This often unspoken dynamic arises from a deep-seated desire to maintain harmony, to avoid causing any ripples in the seemingly placid waters of family life. You might find yourself suppressing your needs, downplaying your discomforts, minimizing your concerns, all in an effort to avoid being perceived as a burden, as a complainer, as the difficult elder who disrupts the established flow of the household. You might bite back your comments about the television being too loud, the house being too cold, the meal being too spicy. You might endure sleepless nights on an uncomfortable mattress, tolerate a lack of privacy, or suffer in silence with a nagging ailment, all because you don't want to rock the boat, to impose your needs on your children and their families. Imagine Beatrice, a woman who cherished her morning routine of quiet contemplation with a cup of tea and a good book. After moving in with her daughter's family, however, she found herself surrounded by the hustle and bustle of early morning preparations. The television blared with morning news, children chattered excitedly about their day ahead, and the kitchen buzzed with the activity of breakfast preparations. Beatrice longed for a quiet corner, a moment of peace amidst the chaos, but she hesitated to voice her need, fearing she would be seen as demanding or unappreciative of her daughter's efforts. So she retreated into herself, sacrificing her own well-being for the sake of maintaining a superficial sense of harmony. She began to skip her morning ritual, her quiet time replaced by a growing sense of unease and a subtle resentment that gnawed at her from within. This self-silencing, while seemingly a small act of self-sacrifice, can have profound consequences. It creates a growing chasm between your inner world and your outer reality, a dissonance between what you feel and what you express. Your unexpressed needs don't simply disappear. They fester beneath the surface, accumulating like unspoken grievances, gradually eroding your sense of self-worth and contributing to a growing sense of isolation. You might start to feel invisible, unheard, your needs dismissed as unimportant or simply overlooked. This can lead to a cycle of resentment and withdrawal, further distancing you from your family and exacerbating the very challenges you are trying to avoid. It's crucial to remember that your needs are valid, and expressing them is not a sign of weakness or ingratitude. It's an act of self-preservation, a way of honoring your own well-being and maintaining a sense of autonomy within the new family dynamic. Open and honest communication, while sometimes challenging, is the key to creating a healthy and sustainable living arrangement. Expressing your needs respectfully, not as demands but as requests, can help your family understand your perspective and work together to create a more harmonious and supportive environment. Don't be afraid to speak up, to advocate for yourself, to assert your right to be heard and respected. Your voice matters, and your well-being is worth fighting for. Number 8. The fading sense of purpose. Perhaps the most profound and often overlooked consequence of moving in with adult children is the subtle, yet significant, erosion of one's sense of purpose. For decades, your life was likely structured around a framework of responsibilities, contributions, and roles that provided a sense of meaning and fulfillment. You were the head of your household, the primary caregiver, the community volunteer, the active participant in social and professional circles. These roles, these contributions, large and small, shaped your identity, defined your days, and gave you a sense of purpose, a reason to get up in the morning. However, when you transition to living with your children, these established roles often diminish or disappear altogether, leaving a void that can be difficult to fill. The responsibilities you once held, the contributions you once made, the very things that gave your life meaning, might now be handled by others, leaving you feeling displaced, redundant, and strangely adrift. Imagine David, a lifelong handyman who took immense pride in his ability to fix things, to build things, to create something tangible with his own two hands. His workshop, filled with the familiar scent of sawdust and the comforting hum of power tools, was his sanctuary, a place where he could lose himself in the satisfying rhythm of creation. For David, fixing things wasn't just a hobby. It was an expression of his competence, his self-reliance, his ability to contribute to the well-being of his family and community. He was the go-to guy for neighbors with leaky faucets, friends with broken appliances, and family members with household repairs. His skills were valued, his contributions appreciated, and his sense of purpose deeply intertwined with his ability to be useful, to make a difference. After moving in with his son, however, David found himself with little to do. His son, well-intentioned but perhaps oblivious to his father's deep-seated need to contribute, handled all the household repairs himself, often hiring professionals for more complex tasks. David's tools sat idle, his workshop replaced by a small, unfamiliar corner in the garage, his hands itching for the familiar feel of wood and metal. He missed the satisfaction of fixing things, of being useful, of contributing to the household in a tangible way. He yearned for the sense of accomplishment that came with completing a project, the quiet pride in knowing he had made a difference. He felt like a fish out of water, his familiar world replaced by a new, unsettling reality where his skills were no longer needed, his contributions no longer valued. This loss of purpose, this sense of redundancy, chipped away at his self-worth, leaving him feeling increasingly disoriented and disconnected from the life he once knew. This scenario, while specific to David, reflects a broader challenge faced by many older adults who move in with their children. The loss of established roles and responsibilities can lead to a profound sense of emptiness, a feeling of being adrift, without a compass to guide them. This diminished sense of purpose can have a significant impact on mental and emotional well-being, contributing to feelings of depression, anxiety, and a general decline in overall life satisfaction. It's essential to recognize this potential loss and actively seek ways to maintain a sense of purpose, to find new avenues for contribution, and to create opportunities for meaningful engagement within the new family dynamic. This might involve exploring new hobbies, volunteering in the community, or simply finding small ways to contribute to the household, such as helping with chores, offering childcare assistance, or sharing life experiences and wisdom with younger generations. Maintaining a sense of purpose is not just about staying busy, it's about feeling valued, feeling relevant, feeling like you still have something to offer the world. It's about nurturing the spark of life that keeps us engaged, connected, and fulfilled, regardless of where we live or what stage of life we find ourselves in. If any of these experiences resonate with you, know that you are not alone. These challenges are not a reflection of weakness or failure. They are the complex realities of aging and family dynamics. Moving in with your children can be a loving and practical choice, but it's crucial to acknowledge the potential emotional and psychological costs. Your independence, your identity, your sense of purpose, these are precious and deserve to be protected. It's essential to communicate your needs, maintain your boundaries, and find ways to nurture your own well-being. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights are invaluable and can help others navigating similar challenges. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our latest tips for thriving in life after 60 all for free. Your support helps us continue to create content that empowers and informs. So, subscribe today and join our community. We'll see you in the next video.